Hopefully that's better. Okay, and then... So I have a slight dilemma. I'm going to be wearing my other earplugs for that format. I'm going to leave this here for now. I wasn't able to get on last week for this time because I had lots to do, and technically I'm working from home, so I have to earn money doing things on Poshmark, which is where I generally generate my income. So I don't have, though I do have time, I don't have like that much time, if you know what I mean. I don't have the whole day to sit and chit chat. I have to kind of get things done. So I think today I wanted to talk about, reconnecting. What's going on here? Very interesting. Okay, whoops. Can't trip on here. So I have a very small space. I'm not the biggest, well, the space that I generally work in is a little bit smaller. I don't have this mic on because this mic, I have to charge this. So there are like lots going on today. And I just came back from my gym training, so I'm not going all crazy into dressing up too much because I'm not a vanity metrics type of environment. I'm a little bit older, so for me, I'm not here to show off anything because that's not what I do. I know that this new generation on social media thinks that success comes with looking good and absolutely polished and all that stuff. But I can tell you right now, it's not always the case. As somebody who has also been young, and in my 20s many years ago, that's like 20 years ago, life was hunky-dory without social media, and boy did I do lots of cool things when I was younger, and I made good money doing lots of cool things, such as a little bit of modeling and a bunch of other things. But I'm not technically here to show off for people. I mean, I know that the youth are always about, oh, how cool are you, and how awesome is the stuff that you have, and can you keep us entertained? But there's a certain time when you have to realize that life is not about just entertaining people, but to acknowledge what's going on, right? That's like part of the process. I'm having a couple of issues. Yeah, I'm using my iPad, right? This is a bit of an issue, sorry. I don't know where I'm supposed to sit today. So these earpieces are in that because obviously I have to charge this, so it's going to be a bit of a problem today. Just putting things together. I don't have a team. I am officially the team to do this. So when I try to get things together, sometimes they're not always going to work out perfectly. Okay, so I was going to talk about CDs today, but I just want to remind people that I've already lived my 20s. I lived my 20s many moons ago. So for me, I'm not about entertaining the, social media bracket of coolness, because let's just put it this way. I was cool back in the day. Okay, there's no coolness to be shown off here. It's like I've passed that phase of being that type of person, okay? So we're now at the stage where I'm settled. I'm married, well, technically married, and I'm dealing with a different type of lifestyle. I'm not in college. I'm past college. I'm not in high school. I'm not in junior high. I'm not in elementary school. I'm well past all of the things that I did. I've already had my many jobs. I've done my modeling back in the day. I'm older now. I broke my leg, so I have an injury that is not going to go away. So my body is changing. So I'm at the changing stage of my life. you're not seeing a young person on here. You're seeing somebody who's lived their life, okay? In a couple of different countries. What is going on here? So my lifestyle is different now. Okay, so even usually you would never see me on here. Let's put it this way. When I was younger, I was active. I was out there doing things. I was working with designers. I was working with embassy stuff. It was different. For me, it was different. It was never, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing working. It was never a thing on who's going to be the next social media phenomenon, because social media just came out back in when I was, gosh, this is just not good today. What is going on with my iPad? It's just acting up. Oh, gosh. Sorry, folks. The other side is just having its moments. Definitely having its moments. So it's not, I've just been there. It's just not, oh, why are we really are having issues on my iPad. I don't know what's going on. Things are acting up on the other side. So just because I have new, cool, and exciting things doesn't mean to say that I'm in my 20s, okay? I'm heading towards my 50s. That's where I am in life right now, okay? So my lifestyle is different compared to a lot of people who might be in their 20s or 30s. Reconnect. My goodness, I don't know what's going on with my iPad. It really is acting up. So my lifestyle, the way I do things is very different now than it was before. Okay, I'm going to just put this here. And we're going to talk a bit about how CDs used to be, right? CDs were like a thing. So I'm not here to entertain how cool it is to be a music producer, or it's not the case. It's not, hi, how are you? Welcome in. Thank you for popping over. Yeah, I think a lot of people on social media assume that one has to be on a certain bracket to succeed on social media. Now, I make money somewhere else. I don't make money on here. I was making money on TikTok, and I was making, not a lot, a little bit. I was making a little bit of money on TikTok, and I made a little bit of money on Facebook because I was monetized on Facebook, and TikTok I was able to do like store stuff, right? And I reached a certain level to get to that stage. Here, for me, I use YouTube more for like a research lab, right? This is like my little class section. I'm not here to just do music because it's cool like that. And I know there are a lot of people are like, oh, is she like the next person? I was long gone. Like back in the day, maybe I was doing like lots of music stuff and I was in bands, but not anymore. You see me at the stage of turning towards the 50s, okay? I'm almost 50. So I think that is the difference between where I sit on social media and where other people in their 20s and 30s are still reaching to that stage of trying to be the coolest, craziest, awesomest person on the platform, which I've lived that life already, so I don't need to go back there. I also know that back when I was in my 20s, I was just splurging the money that I made. I always made money, but all the money that I made was always gone in like the day I made it. So I already know my lessons. I know what to do and what to deal with and certain things of what not to do. And when you make money, you have to save money. Because in order to actually generate money to actually build a business, because that's what I'm doing. I'm building a business. Every bit of money that you earn needs to be put right back into your business. And that is the difference between somebody in their 20s because they just want to blow the money away, and somebody who's already been there and knows better not to do that. When did you find yourself making music? I've been making music ever since I was 7 years old. So, okay, so my mom was a music teacher and an opera singer. So I came from a family of musicians, and my sister actually also does music, and she was on The Voice. Okay, so I've come from a background of music. So music was just part of my life. And music production was always part of, even before music production, I was composing music at the age of 5 and 6. I started playing piano in Japan at the age of 3. So when you're in Asia, a lot of the times you find people from Asia, like China and Korea and Japan, generally start, could be from the Philippines, I don't know, generally start young at music. So when I was living in Japan, that was like the first thing my mom would do. Is like, she was, as a music teacher, she was like, you have to do your music because this is, so I came from a background where this is like a must do. So it's just been part of my lifestyle. It was never a thing where it was like a cool thing to do. It was not, okay, I'm 40, I'll be 47 this year. Okay, so I'm nearly 50, okay. So I started music production in 1970. No, not 1970. 1980. No. Well, 1984, 85 is when I started composing music, right? So 1998 was when I actually started getting into music production. But before I did music production, I was learning how to compose music. I didn't have any teachers teaching me how to compose. I was learning things like reading music and classical music and jazz. And that was like how I started. It wasn't vanity metrics, as people would say. It was not something I was technically thinking of as it being like a thing. It was something that was just part of my lifestyle. I was around a lot of musicians. I was surrounded by people who composed music as I was a kid. I think there was a video of me talking about my background and my upbringing. So celebrities were around me as a child. It was just how I was living. My dad was a US diplomat. So because he was a diplomat, we traveled as kids. So I was always around people doing music. It was just not, it wasn't anything different. I mean, maybe now it's like a thing that everybody's like interested in, but it wasn't anything that I was completely focused on. Like Tyla's, let's look at Tyla for instance. Tyla's from South Africa. I'm also South African, right? My mom is mixed South African. And Tyla comes from an environment, like she's like your age, or whoever's in their 20s or 30s. She's about your age. So she was doing stuff. I'm going to open up the other one. I'm going to have you listen to some music as we're open recent. She was doing stuff after I was doing stuff. Like she was born after me. Sorry, she was born after me. So I was in the scenes before she was around. Nah. Yeah. But I didn't see it as like a final outcome, right? I didn't see it as the goal to my life, right? It was not that. So I call this my theme music at the stage, right? So I produced this. I don't know if you can hear this. Hold on. Yeah, it was always just part of my life. It was never a thing, right? It was never something I love music to the point where I just kept going with it. It was not a total so I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Whoops. Making music. How shall I go on about this? Okay. Yes, I would not. Okay, so do what I do. Or, oh shoot, hold on. Don't follow the trend, okay? Don't follow the trend when people say, oh, I want to produce music. Don't do that. Don't do this stuff yet. Music production comes much later on, okay? My recommendation, if you are somebody that's serious about music, is focus on learning how to read music. Focus on the music theory. Focus on listening to lots of music around you, trying to break down how people are composing music. Now, I didn't come from a background where hip-hop was like I mean, I liked Tribe Called Quest and The Roots and all the things back in like the 80s, 90s. I don't know if a lot of the rap now is as cool as the stuff that we had back in the day. I liked a lot of the stuff back in the day. Now it's like Erykah Badu. She was also fantastic, okay? So my recommendation, learn from total beginners. If you're learning from the beginning, learn, okay, so there I have, hold on a second, where am I? Oh, this. This is what you need to learn if you're starting. Don't ever start with composing a piece unless you learn the circle of fifths. I don't know what instruments you play. I play piano, but the same thing applies for any instruments, is you learn the notes on the instrument, right? You learn the notes on the instrument, understand where they are and they're placed, understand what the notes are. I've been teaching music for a long time. Okay, this is not learn the scales, right? I know this is backwards, I'm sorry, I don't know why. This is backwards, so I'm gonna have to reverse it to show you what it looks like the other way around. I do have a whole collection of learning how to learn music on my channel. So if you wanna learn the basics, I've given the basics out in courses. So you can go through my channel, and there's a music department. I have like 4 or 5 different departments. So if you want to learn the music stuff and you're trying to just figure it out, okay, I recommend looking through this because I was teaching music as well. Okay, so that's what my focus, the importance to understand, or important thing to understand, is never rush to compose a piece if you don't understand how to read the music first. I think people try to over dramatize how cool it is to make beats, but most of the people that are making the beats, I'm pretty sure, cannot read music. So if you're going to do it properly from day one. Just like I'm teaching my students, or my students. I had a whole bunch of students that were doing private classes. Now I have private students. But you want to get into understanding this stuff. This is music theory is important. Okay, that's the introduction. It's not about what I can do. And I've listened to some of these tracks these new people are doing on production. They get all the equipment, but then they try, and I had a student like that. They have the voice, they have the equipment, and then they try to compose a piece, and I'm like, what is that? Do they know the key signature they're in? Do they understand where the notes are? I mean, some of it just doesn't sound right. So all I can say is I think it's to do with really learning the basics, right? Yeah, check out you're absolutely welcome. Check out the channel. These are free courses I've set up on the channel so I can help. And if you have questions, leave questions on the sections or whatever. So there is a whole music. In fact, this channel was started because I was trying to focus specifically on music, right? That was the plan. The plan was to actually just focus on music. But then I was like, but I did my art as well, so I started doing graphic design on here, and I just started branching out to everything that I've done, like business, because I'm still doing Poshmark. I'm earning money from home, but I'm not earning it from the music. Well, I am. I have a student. But this was because all this equipment comes because I was teaching music at Guitar Center. So if I hadn't taught at Guitar Center, I probably wouldn't have half the equipment that I have. So that comes from education. Oops. It froze on me. I touched the screen and it just acted up. I'm having tech issues today. So I think that's the biggest thing, is I think people try to rush into the topic of how do you produce music. This only happens, right? This only happens once you learn this stuff. This is what you need to learn before you get to that. I might be creating the music and producing it. I know it's very hard to get tempted to buy all this equipment. But if you have an iPad, even if you don't have an instrument, if you have an iPad, your iPad, if you have GarageBand, you have all these introductory instruments. I'll show you now. Hold on, let me show you. You have, and I talk about this, I have everything on my channel. So if you want to go through my list of things, of what kind of things you need to do at the beginning. Hold on a second. Let me pull out guitar, GarageBand. I have like 10 different platforms working at once. Hold on a second, okay. GarageBand. GarageBand is free. If you have an iPad, GarageBand is free. Okay, so if you have GarageBand, okay, it doesn't just have the beats, okay? It actually has, so it has live loops, okay? It has live loops. But if you go into tracks, it actually gives you the instruments. So say you want to learn drums, a very basic introduction into drumming, you can do this, okay? Or a keyboard, they show you a keyboard, the basic, and what's nice about this is it feels almost like a keyboard. So you don't necessarily need a lot of money to start. They've given you access, like Apple has given you access, and even on your phone. You can get GarageBand on your phone. If you have an iPad, or I mean if you have an iPhone, you can definitely get GarageBand, which is why it's sometimes probably useful to actually have it, right? So for a beginner, you don't need to buy like a ton of stuff. And I show on my channel how to break down like what you do with GarageBand, start to finish. I don't do all the instruments, but I talk about drums because I used to play drums back in the day. And then I also talk about the keyboard, and then there's guitars, right? There are guitars on here. Let's go into, and you can actually plug in, you can use this as an amp. So if you plug in like a mini MIDI, I have a mini MIDI. I have a whole portable layout that I've discussed as well. So if you need portability, I've also put together a basic portable setup for your environment that's not very expensive. So I talk about that as well. Okay, so there are a lot of things that I've gone through on my my music section of this channel. I know there are a lot of people that are very interested, and I know that there's AI that's being created to kind of duplicate what the sound is for music, but I still recommend, because you can still have issues. For instance, if you are advanced and you are developing music for your space, right? I'll talk about CDs just now. We'll get into that in a few moments. If you're creating music in your space, for instance, you want to make sure that you're actually creating it from scratch, because there are a lot of copyright claims that are coming out now with music production done with Suno and other apps that are creating AI music, because you just don't know. So my recommendation from somebody who's been teaching for years is, if you're going to do music, or if you're going to produce your music, learn from the beginning. Get the introduction. I teach on the channel. You can, like, it's free. I teach the basics of music education. Okay, how to read music, what you can do with GarageBand, where you can find GarageBand, both on the phone and also on your computer. Actually, yeah, you can get it on anything Apple related, you can get it from, right? So it's like a whole system. Now I've been doing music for 44 years. That's a long time. So you can just imagine, each time I do something, it's always something new, because there's something that I've missed. So it's not just music production is not just, for me, it's not just an entertainment thing, it's a learning skill. It's something that I've just kept going with, because I thought that the value of having music in your life is so important, right? That's like a big thing. Music becomes a great value in actually social media. Now we're in the world of social media, right? So social media has become this whole, like, how are we, like, this music, if it wasn't music I produced, I would never be allowed to record this on a live, okay? The reason why I'm playing music in the background is simply because I can, and I produced it, okay, by hand. Like, I even have a video showing of how I put it together. So it's important to know if you are building up a channel, for instance, and this is something you want to do, like I've started doing. I don't have copyright strikes, if that helps. The copyright strikes happen when you don't understand the both visually. Like, I can't hold somebody else's work up, right? I can't hold somebody else's work up and say, this is somebody else's work, and talk about that person, even though people do it. People constantly get copyright strikes on here, both visually and audio. So you want to make sure everything you do, and I've done my art, I did my master's in the arts. So as an artist, as an art teacher, I also, music teacher and an art teacher, I do both, okay? So as an art teacher, as a visual person who understands the arts, you want to make sure that everything, that's why I sometimes use AI to create images, because then at least the visuals are mine. I can't claim them to be mine if they were copied from somebody else's. So that would be a no-no on social media. You cannot do that. Like, you see a lot of people using celebrities' faces, they will still get copyright strikes. That is like the biggest issue that people are having. I haven't had one. Everybody's like, oh, we've had 2, we've had 3. I'm like, I haven't had one because I've started from the ground zero and I learned how to understand what copyright is about. So I was around, like I said, I was around a lot of celebrities when I was younger, and I was never ever allowed to take photographs of them, ever. Like, we were not allowed to. That was like a thing that you just don't do. So that becomes real on social media. The same thing applies. You don't want to use people's images if they're not yours, right? That's just a given. Okay, going into the whole discussion on CDs. Ooh, shoot. CDs, sorry. The discussion on CDs I wanted to talk about. Sorry about this, folks. Everything's dropping and falling off. Okay, the discussion on CDs is important to understand because my partner was a DJ, okay? He was a DJ before he works for CBS News now, okay? But before he was that, he was DJing, like in New York and stuff. And that was like back in the 90s. And he would always, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, why is he like recording? And I didn't know where these CDs were coming from. He would always be recording some of the stuff that he would like mix for the parties and the events in New York. And then he would go back or come back and put them on CDs. And I was like, why do we have all these cool CDs? Who's making them? Only to realize my partner is the guy that's putting all these CDs together. But before that, so we have, let me show you what I'm talking about. When I make music, I used to make music and we would place it on CDs. So there is a way to burn, I don't know, do you guys know about burning CDs? Hold on a second. Burning CDs, I don't know, somebody just bought a whole bunch of blank CDs from me the other day and I was like, who's buying CDs? Who on earth who is buying CDs? I don't understand where the CD palava came from, so I'm kind of shocked. Let me pull out my old website, show you what I was doing back in the day. Hold on. Music, where's the music? Music classes. Yeah, so this is, I don't know if you can see these. Let's see if I can, I don't know if I can tap them. So I made CD covers, like I would do the graphic design, right? And I'd make the CD covers for my own little albums that I would hand out to people if I needed to. And the benefit of actually creating them on CDs still is you can actually send, if you burn a CD like of your track, if you want to do it a quick way and you're like having an issue with it, you burn the CD on your computer, right? And that CD you send it over to, you mail it out, but you send it back to yourself, and then you get a stamp on it, and that stamp reassures you that you own the copyrights before you even take it over to, before you send it to iTunes, before you send it to ASCAP, before you send it to any company that deals with copyrights. I think the first thing that people should do, and I haven't done it recently, but the first thing people should do is actually make a CD copy of the track, send it out, ship it back to yourself, or mail it back to yourself, because that reassures you, and keep it closed. Don't open that. Keep it closed, have it stamped, put it away. Those files become important in the future. So that keeps you from, and even this, actually, this is the new way to do it. This is why I produce music on here, is that when I produce music on YouTube, this is how I'm doing it now, is I produce music on YouTube. And because I produce the music on YouTube, this creates a stamp, a public stamp. So this public stamp, can be used in court if I need to prove to myself, or not myself, but somebody else that claims the music, and say, no, actually I have evidence, I have the separates, the parts, the loops, you can show it in court, and that's how this becomes like an important part of the process. So that's the new way. But before that, I was making, like, see, these covers, I was doing these covers. I was doing the graphic design, I did everything myself. You can see these, you can go through my website and see what I did in the past. Right, and then the back, and I printed. So we had all these things before. I don't know if it's like this now, right? But you can so what you can do is, I don't know if anybody's really interested in the like how to do it, but what you do is you send it over. Let me see if I can show you here. I don't know if you can zoom in. Okay, I can show people how to do this as well. You can actually zoom in here. Okay, so you can, I'm not going to go through it now. I don't have the CD burner here. This is a new version, but the older computers, you'll have a CD burner directly into the computers. Now it's like different. You need to get an external format, right? Hold on a second. Okay, so what you would do, say for instance, you've completed the track. Oh, well, let's just use this. Okay, you say you've completed the track and you have it in iMusic. I don't know how it works for a PC. I don't use a PC, so I wouldn't know necessarily how that's done. Brandon might, because Brandon uses PCs. Okay. So let's say, okay, so this is the track. I don't know, okay. And what you would do is you convert, right, to MP3. And then if you have an external CD connector, it would then say, where would you like to burn it to? And then you'd burn it directly onto the CD thing. I don't have it with me right now. I think it's in this box, but I'm not going to take it out. Okay, so that's like a whole, yeah. So I don't have, there's nothing here. This is a new version. So if you have a new computer, you might have to get an external version of it, because it's different now. The technology, every time technology changes, they upgrade stuff, and then certain things that disappear, like for instance, a CD player, you have to buy external sources for that next, right? So that's important to understand, is that there's like a whole system. When technology changes, everything else shifts. That's the whole, I guess that's the moral of the story, right? Okay. So that's basically it, okay? And before Amapiano came out, oh, this is the track that I produced. Okay, no, I don't have it on the computer that actually had the original version has been stolen. So that was stolen in South Africa, which is fun. I have to say that was a very wonderful experience, knowing that things get stolen from your house. Stuff got stolen from my house in South Africa. I was like, what the heck? What's this about now? Okay, we're not gonna technically go in there. Let's just do, oh Lord, here. What track was not found? What the heck? Okay, so I'm not gonna go into that because, actually I'll play it, let's do this. I'll play it on, I have to reset that up over there. Hold on a second. Okay. before Amapiano, there was like a lot of house that was going on in South Africa. So a lot of house music was played. Let me just see if I can find the track that I placed. Did I put it on here? Music production, Nomadic's music. I think I did. What happened? What is going on with my... What's going on here? We're having issues. Everything is backing out lately, hey? It's just like, what is going on? Sorry, folks. Interesting. Okay, let's use this. Yeah, this is it. Okay, here's the track that I produced in South. It's not through the speaker, so it's going to be a little... Oh. Okay, this was... Yeah, this is my old track. Okay, so this is on, you can actually hear this. I kept the original. Before Amapiano, there was house music in South Africa. And anywhere else, right? Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh, it's now giving me, hold on, give me a second. No, we don't want that. Okay, hold on. Sorry, folks. Let's just go back to this. Now it's having me log in. I'm so irritated. What's going on here? Okay, anyway, so I would generally listen to it on my phone, or I'd put it on here, but I haven't organized it today, so apologies for that. So before Amapiano was actually house music, and I was around a lot of DJs in South Africa as well. So I was like playing around with, yeah, working around produced music before Amapiano came about, and my music was invited to that one track, and 3 other tracks were ready to go for Big Brother Africa. So before all this Amapiano stuff, okay, and there was always Afro beats, which is like, that's been around. Amapiano is a mixture of house. Amapiano is a mixture of house and rhythmic African beats, which is basically what that's about, right? So this is just incorporating what I would generally do before, and then I'd add on a little bit more of a heavier percussion section, which is how you make Amapiano. But you always need to be focused on composition. It's not just about the beats. It's really not just about the beats. This can only happen if you learn this stuff. Okay, it's not as easy as it looks. I try to make it look like quick, but it took me 44 years just to get to this point, right? So that's like the whole point, right? The whole point. Okay, so that gives you a general idea. So the music that I had was put together, was set up for, 3 tracks were set up in Big Brother Africa. I was around a lot of producers who were doing movies back then. Liquid Grooves I was assisting in, which is a huge recording production house in South Africa. So I was working with, the producer was Barry Dean. He was doing a lot of stuff for Coca-Cola back then. And there were like a lot of other production houses. Now, yeah. So South Africa's really quite famous for music. I mean, before Tyler, there were a lot of people like Brenda Fassie. Well, Paul Simon came down to visit. There was, what's his name? There were like a whole bunch of producers. Rashid Lani, just many. There's so many if you're interested in Mariam Makeba, these are famous people from South Africa that way before all of these things that were happening. And they were creating more jazzy, African type of sounds with a lot of Tswana and Zulu with the languages. So they were incorporating a lot of the South African, well, Xhosa, Zulu, Siswati, yeah. A lot of African languages were added. I don't hear as much African languages now. I think everybody's just focused on the English with the like fusion, right? Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you I'm so sorry. I'm like talking away and I'm like having a discussion while I'm apologizing for. Well, thank you. I hope it does help. I hope you're able to see the introductions to music, because I don't think people realize that there's like a lot of work that goes on behind the scene before you learn how to create this stuff. This only happens when you fully understand how the basics work. And listening to a lot of music also helps. But don't just listen to like the rap and the hip hop and the R&B and the jazz. Like listen to music from around the world, different cultural sounds like Japan, Asia. Besides the pop stuff, go back into history. It's important to learn different types of sounds because eventually, if you do end up doing production, those sounds you might be able to use in the future for the stuff that you're doing. Because the whole point of music production is not just about creating the same. It's to create something a little bit different, right? The more different and more interesting it gets, more things can happen. I don't think it's just sticking in one category. Even classical music, I think, is important to learn. That's basic. That's the introduction, but I think introduction matters to really understanding the skill. And I did, like, this channel just did start off as a music department area, but I thought branching out would also be important because I didn't just do music. You know, I built my own websites. I don't think I could have built my own websites if I didn't know how to put my, hold on a second, how to understand visuals, how to take photographs, right? It all matters. It all plays a role in this. Eh? It's not like a... I need to take that section out. Yeah. And then I was helping another student. She was from Guitar Center. Okay, so I was doing her album cover as well. So going back into the CD question, CDs are still good. I mean, it's old now. People are not really like, you know, making it as a thing. These are photographs I took of her before. So we used these images and created like an album cover as well, right? So that's like a whole thing. So I think it's important to not just focus on, like if you're doing music production, don't just focus on the music side. Learn the graphic design so you don't have to pay somebody to do your like images. Like learn to do it yourself. I think there's so much stuff out there you can use now that there wasn't, to make it so much easier for everybody to do it for themselves, that you don't have to hire. Like I used to hire people when I had people, like if they would, hold on a second, let me just show you. If I needed a model to model one of the garments that I made, I had to hire somebody and pay them. I had to hire and pay them to, hold on, let's just give this. This is my sample. I don't really... I would have to hire people to do a photo shoot with me. I would have to charge people to, you know, now I don't have to do that. I can literally just, I can use AI. Okay, so when I use AI to do, I'll show you now. But if I need to do like an outfit and I need a figure for the outfit, I don't hire I don't hire a person. I literally just say, I create here, I'll show you. I'll create an image. I don't know if I have everything ready now. But I take a photograph of that, then I'd place that on the image that I create for AI, and then I'd use that as the front cover. I don't know if I can show you on here because, let me just see. Let me go to my other WordPress. Let me just see. Give me a second. Oh, no. Oh, maybe it's in here. Hold on. No. What's it doing? Or I'd use myself. Back in the day, I used to use myself to take photographs because I was thin. I was the size of a mannequin back in the day. So I used to model my own stuff sometimes, and I'd do my own self-portraits, right? So then I'd use myself to create those if I didn't have money at the time to have a model. Now I don't even have to do that. I literally take a photograph of the image, okay, like I did the other day for Poshmark, and I make money on Poshmark. So I sell my own garments, and that's how I'm able to kind of stay home and work, because I don't think I'd be able to do this if I didn't have some sort of income coming in. So I found, since I have the fashion skill and I've studied fashion, this helps me generate the income that I need, because music is not always, like, I'm no longer teaching in a school because I broke my leg, right? Because I broke my leg, it's now become a hazard for me to be in an environment where I'm running around fixing up cables and all that kind of stuff. So it has changed my life. I've now had to kind of move my environment and territory to something a little bit more doable for my circumstance. Semi-disabled, I don't know if that's a thing. So I can walk, I can stand, but I can't run and I can't crawl, and there are like many things I can't do. I can't cycle. I used to love riding bikes all the time. That was like my thing. South Africa, I would be cycling everywhere. Forget the car. I don't want a car. I didn't want a car in the first place. I was cycling everywhere. Now it's a different story. So I kept my weight down because I was a big exerciser, hey? So, yeah. So as you can see, I would take a photograph of the garment, for instance. Okay. Now I basically take the photograph on the mannequin and then transfer that image onto the AI image that I create. So there are many ways. So I don't have to pay anybody to do that because I do art. I already know how to put that together. That's easy, right? That's not like an issue. So always having multiple skills. Don't rely on one skill. I always try to tell people, never rely on one skill, because that's going to get you caught in a situation where you will have to defend yourself and depend on other people. I'm always about independence. Like, make sure that you have skills that you can do, that you can survive whatever times we are in right now. We are in the time right now where not just social media, but the environment deals with, don't forget, AI is polymath, right? So the more skills you have, the more you can actually get assistance with multiple levels, okay, of communication, if you want to, with something like an AI, right? Gemini or whatever. But have those skills. Know what you're doing. Don't just depend on it. Like, I never depend on it. I mean, I can do it without the stuff, but I also know that it saves me time and saves me money from over exuding myself in different, so you can see I do lots of, so I sewed this. I make stuff, right? That's why I'm making money on Poshmark as well, because I don't just depend on my music. Like, that would be a bad idea. And now that I have my own website, I can technically sell my own MP3s directly on my own personal site, right? So instead of having 1,000 people listen to the track and only getting like 3 cents for it, because that's what happens when you put it on Spotify, I can now use, and I can show you, I can set it up, not now, I'll do it another day. You can use your own website because you own it, and you can make at least $4 from a track and not worry about how many people listen to it. They can download it and buy it from you instantly. So there are workarounds. I have never placed my stuff on Spotify because, I don't know, I felt a little hesitant, and then I felt like I was right not doing it. Now look at what happened. Everybody's now freaking out because nobody knows what's going on with the AI, right? The importance is, I don't know why I'm having such technical issues today. Everything's going bananas right now. It's kind of weird. Yeah, that is so weird. Everything's acting up. So I think it's just important to acknowledge that you want to focus on more than one skill. I don't try to hide the fact that I do multiple things. I think it's the channel that I've set up is for that purpose. If you're wanting to learn different areas and different categories and how they're all interlinked, this would be the channel for you to kind of like observe and listen to. Because I think as somebody who's almost 50, I think it's like I've seen how technology was developed because I was around. And then I've also seen its downfall, right? I'm also watching it going through its downfall right now. So I think it's important to bear in mind that music is great, but don't make it your entire life. Like, try to find other skills to also like branch out and do, because if you break a leg, like I did, literally, I broke a leg, and then you find yourself in an environment where you can't go out and perform all the time, or you can't teach in a school like normal people, because that's what I would be doing. You have to find another solution to your survival mechanism. Thank God I make clothing. Thank God I know art. Thank God I know how to make soundproofing. I made these. Okay, I made this stuff. All of this stuff I made. I have a whole rack. I'm gonna turn you guys now. I have a whole rack of clothing that I've made. Okay, that's my other side. And I earn money doing that, okay? So, that's the rack. There's like a whole bunch of stuff. And I have a sewing machine and everything. So I don't depend on one skill. I think that would be a big mistake to just focus on one skill, because yeah, like if you were put in a situation where your leg was broken and you had an emergency operation, which is what I had to go through. I learned how to walk. It took me 2 years to learn how to walk again. Literally, I was crawling on the floor for a whole year and a half. Finally got up 2 years later, I learned how to walk again. I'm telling you right now, if you put yourself in that situation, just imagine the kind of things you lose out on. You have to learn other skills, branch out just in case an emergency happens. That is my rule of thumb now at this stage. Like, if emergency breaks out, find some other skill that can save your life. Okay? So yeah, that's it. And I'm so glad that I had this is my equipment. I had all of this equipment. This is piano stuff. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like piano here, keyboard. Okay, it's all like racked up, but it's all here. I cover it. I usually cover it. Okay, so my equipment is covered depending on what I'm doing during the week. But I just feel as if it's important that if you are going to do music, know that it's like a life. This is a life learned lesson. This is not an instant thing. It's not. Even if I want to say, oh, you can produce a track, it's not an instant thing. You can try, but the stuff that you would come out with at the beginning, if you don't know the basics, is going to sound very odd. It's going to be out of tune. You're going to wonder what the notes are. You're going to want to know what the beats are, and then something goes wrong. It's just going to sound really weird. Okay, really weird. This is me the other day. I'm going to have you listen to the other track that I did. It was a complete disaster. I'm going to show you what happens. Sorry. Oh, but this is the other day, new idea. Lots of things were going on in this piece. It was quite disastrous. And then I finally gave up and said, I'm going to just make it into jazz. I don't know. I still think it's disastrous. I don't think it worked out, okay? So anything can go wrong. If you're trying to do something and it just doesn't work out, of what it should not sound like, right? Okay, so that's what it would sound like if you're really unsure of beats and rhythms and stuff. So I wouldn't recommend just jumping into it because it could sound like disastrous. So I really think it's about really learning the skills, right? Really learning the skills. Open, recent, one second. So I'm going to have you listen to the track. I think this is an almost completed piece, right? This track. I like it. I did another one with vocals and stuff. I can't say I'm a vocalist. I don't think I'm a vocal person. But I think it's important to really look into the construction. I do have a video. I think it took me 3 lives to create this track. So if you want to go onto the lives, there's a section. I have so many videos, but I'm not restricted. That's the difference is a lot of the times people who produce music sometimes may have restrictions on their channels, right? So I don't have any restrictions on my channels because I follow the rules and I know what copyrights and your own personal compositions are. I think that's important, very important. Okay, and I even talk about the copyright rules and how to stay away from them if you're going to be doing a channel. Okay, so I do all of that stuff on here. I talk about it. This took me about 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 lives to record this. But if you go into my live section for music, you can go through them and you can see, I know they're long, but you can see where I've started. This is called Won't Take Me Down. So you should be able to find a whole bunch at the beginning of me producing this track. And that's what that is. Okay, folks, I really do appreciate everybody popping over. Last week I had an order, I had a Poshmark order and I had to send it out immediately, just like the first couple of days of this week. Oh my gosh, I had orders after orders after orders, and I'm thinking, what is going on here? So I know that it's very important to focus on generating money somewhere besides just doing a platform, a social media platform. You need to find something to generate money. I don't think people jump into doing a channel and they think, oh, it's going to make you a lot of money. In my case, it has not happened, okay? In my case, my money comes from other formats. Poshmark has been my main source of income, okay? I'm not pressurized into showing off because I've already gone through that lifestyle. I've passed the years of being 20 years old. I'm done with that. I've done my modeling. I've had other people model for me. I've made the clothing. I've done the fashion shows, yada, yada, yada. Life goes on. But I also had the skills in music. Okay, thank God my mom trained me at a young age to say, you need to focus on more than your looks, okay? That's one lesson to learn, is you learn as you get older that looks become not as important, but the skills hold on the value in the end. Okay, looks don't always last, as we know. So the more skills you can get within your life, the less you'll panic about the way you look on social media, and the more you'll focus on how you can generate money with those skills. So that's one lesson that I learned. I don't miss being young. I don't miss being thin. I thought it was really cool. I do miss my other leg not being broken. I do wish that I didn't have my accidents, but now I'm stuck in this position and this is just how it is for me. But I think when you're young, people always focus on how cool you are to look a certain way and how cool your body looks a certain way and all this stuff. But as you get older, that stuff disappears, hey? Like in reality, it doesn't always last. Okay, so focusing on the visual appearance is not always the answer. It's focusing on the other skills that could probably become even more useful in the future, right? Depending on what it is that you're doing. I still think having multiple skills is the answer though, right? That's like the whole thing. Oh, I gotta do my Poshmark, folks. Okay. I'm gonna love you and leave you because now I have to get onto my Poshmark work, which is the stuff. And I have a whole section on Poshmark if you're interested. If you want to make money from home and you're living in the States, I can guide you through how to make money on Poshmark. Poshmark was my main focus. I can teach people how to do, I don't like TikTok. I'm not a TikToker. I'm not a big fan of TikTok because it's a lot of engagement that you need to do. And I think it takes away from your focus on skills. I think Poshmark helps. If you do Poshmark and you're wanting to make money and you make stuff, say for instance you're a crafty person, you don't have to go off and buy a ton of things to sell. There's always a misconception. Everybody thinks, oh, resellers. You can make the reselling business your own business. You can create stuff and sell it. That's what I do. I make stuff. As I've said, I make stuff. I produce things. I make stuff. This is one of the pieces. And I sell it. When I have the time, I don't waste my time on, you know, I sell stuff. This is my label, my old label. I need to get new labels, right? This is the back, right? So it's having more than one skill. I think if it wasn't for the fact that I had more than one skill, I don't think I'd be in this position. I don't think with a broken leg that I have right now, I'd be able to sustain anything. I think I don't know what I would have done. I probably might have like gone back to my parents or something, but they're in South Africa, right? They're not even here in the States. So I think just remember, focus on more than one skill. Don't, even though everybody talks about youth and being cool and sexy and all this stuff on like social media and looking a certain way, it's not gonna last, guys. It's one thing to, this is my thing, is if you're going to use it for marketing, right? If you're going to use it for marketing and you're going to take a photograph and it's going to help you sell your products, then the appearance becomes a business. You're not using it in vain, right? You're now creating it for a purpose. Use it while you can to build a business up, because that youth will not last forever. So that's the moral of my story. And have those skills. Be focused on learning multiple entry points, because we're living in a world now where you probably would need more than one skill at this stage, right? So I think that's a big difference in just learning one skill because it's cool like that, but actually having to learn multiple different ways to generate the income. Not income, ways to be creative to generate income. That's the goal. You want to have multiple skills because that opens the doors to different types of income. Don't focus on one. I never focus on one. I've never focused on one. Even when I had a job, when I was working jobs, I was making clothing. With the money that I was earning in the jobs, I was repurposing that money and putting it into textiles or music equipment or whatever it is that I could afford, right? If I couldn't afford the equipment, I was making things. If I couldn't find stuff that if I didn't have enough money, I would go out there and find feathers. And I'd like collect the feathers and I'd make something out of feathers. Because that's what sometimes in South Africa, you're not always making money. But South Africa is known to make beautiful things out of craft, right? Or different parts of Africa. A lot of people use recyclables. You use a lot of recyclables, go out and find bottle tops, create necklaces. You know, this is like, and create a business. Like that's my biggest thing is music is great, but it's not going to be the money maker unless you're like going to hit it big on social media. And for me, that was never like the thing. My focus was not on that, ever, because I had other things that I was doing, right? So as you get older, like I'm almost 50, like I said, I'm almost 50 years old, almost 50. I am past the stage of trying to be young, because I'm not young. I'm not denying the fact that I'm old now. I'm not young. So I think it matters to understand that skills will last and appearances, like social media becomes like everybody tries to outdo the next person, right? And when you outdo the next person, you still have to outdo the next person because now you're competing. I don't think that's the approach. I think the approach is to learn the skills to create a business that can actually hold you together if an emergency or situation happens. So that's where I am right now. Folks, I have to go, I'm afraid, but I will be back on hopefully this Tuesday coming up again, this coming Tuesday. My student is back on Sunday. I was doing like Sunday stuff. So Tuesdays, I will definitely be back to do more discussion. But go ahead and take a look at my channel. I have like so many different areas. I even have a business structured format. I have business, I have music, I have art. It's all here. I've taken years to kind of build this together because I was like, maybe there just needs to be a place where everybody can find courses, like how to do it, how to be inventive and creative when you don't have everything, right? So that's what this channel is for. This channel is for being an advocate for your own skills, learning how to do it when times are in need. And now we're in a situation right now in the States where, I'm living in the States, we don't know what's gonna happen. Are we gonna have to make our own clothing? I even bought, when I was in South Africa, I bought like shoe patterns. I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen when I move back to the States. So here I am, I get off the plane, I have the stuff shipped over from South Africa, and like I don't have it with me, but I'll show it to you the next time. But I have a whole box of shoe patterns. So I was like, am I going to be homeless? If I'm gonna be homeless, I'm gonna have to make shoes. So here I am, and I was about to start making these shoes because I was like, I need to generate money. All I did, I walked into Guitar Center. This is how I got the job at Guitar Center. I walked in, I played the piece of an instrument. They said, hey, we need a piano teacher. Can you come in and teach? So that's how it happened. I literally arrived back to the States, played the piano at Guitar Center, and I was hired the next day. So luckily that other skill saved me, but now it's reversed. The skill of learning how to make stuff has saved me on social media because I wasn't dependent on generating the income on going viral. I have had two viral videos, one on Instagram, 10,000, not 100,000, 10,000, which opened up the doors for my Facebook monetization. And then I had another one which went 40 to 50,000 views on Flip, and I made about $70-something, and I was like, ah, man, this is like not money. Like this viral thing, you could make this kind of stuff. Just the other day, I made a necklace. I sold my necklace for $80, something I made. Now, if you were to go off to a secondhand store and buy stuff, right, you try to make that, and sometimes people try to lower it. So sometimes Poshmark people want you to lower your prices. If you make your own stuff, the chances of people understanding what you've actually done here, original pieces, are selling like hotcakes, guys. If you're willing to put the time in and make stuff, rather than freaking out about generating money on YouTube or TikTok or Facebook, go the route of generating money from home, incorporating making stuff. It's just like, I don't know if people would buy CDs. Somebody just bought a whole bunch of blank CDs that I had the other day. I was like, what's this about? Because I was doing tracks for people, and I was putting them on CDs and selling the CDs or giving out the CDs depending on what it was. So it's important to realize that just branch out. Don't focus and think that virality is, I've already done it. I saw it, I looked at it, I said, this is not living. Like, you have to constantly go viral to earn $70. $70 to go viral. Like, is that like really, like, and who knows how much work somebody puts into the back end to make that happen, right? For me, it was just a random thing. Two things happened. The Instagram one was totally random. I think I was doing my hair blue. So my hair was dyed blue. I was dyeing it on the screen, and all of a sudden this video just popped off. And I was like, okay, no big deal. And I was a little bit younger. And then my, I'll show it to you. And then I don't think it's on here. And then my flip one, I was talking about Dubai chocolates, and I was marketing the product, right? So I had a green screen in the background. You can see it. I actually talked about it. But on the same day I made that $73 or $72 or whatever it was for that viral video, I made $300. $300 by selling something on Poshmark the same day. I was like, okay, let's weigh the options here. If you were in a desperate needed situation, would you prefer going viral, or would you prefer actually generating more money selling something on something like Poshmark or eBay or whatever? Because that is the reality. The reality is, can you sustain virality and keep going with $100 per video? Or would it be smarter to just have something else you're doing while you're developing it, like I am, and not focus so much on going completely viral? Have the channel. I think it's important to have a YouTube channel because it is a portfolio format, but don't pressurize yourself into thinking that that's where the money is, because it's not. And I've had jobs before this too, hey. I made money before. I worked in the embassy, and I worked for like all sorts of things. I've worked in gallery spaces, all this stuff. So I've already seen it. I've seen it on the other side. I've already made money. So that $72 for me was like, no, this is like nothing, nothing. And I've made about, in total for the 4 years, I've made about maybe a little under 20, it's not even that much, a little under 20,000 on Poshmark. 20,000, that's nothing. It's nothing, it's still nothing, because 20,000 is what I should be earning a year. Sorry, which is what I was doing. When I was teaching music, I was earning 20,000 a year. That's still nothing, but it's better than, like the situation I'm in is still making less than what I was making, but I'm still generating something versus nothing. Right, so that's important to understand. Okay, gotta love you and leave you guys, but feel free to look around the channel if you have any questions on how to generate money or skills or art. I did my master's. I've worked with people in the industry back in the day. My mom obviously being like an opera singer. I worked for Opera Africa in South Africa. So I've seen a lot of stuff. It's not just like I've been in one country. I think I'm just bringing my knowledge and skills to help people try to find what it is they want to do. And I think this channel may help by opening up that door to explore what you can do with different skills, right? That's like, I think that's the goal here of this channel, is don't just focus on one. There's so many people that are doing one skill on one channel, like keep it into a niche. I was like, our world now is a whole bunch of mishmashes of everything. I think if you try to be too nichey, you become like everybody else. The goal is to try to be as different, right? Different is what YouTube is looking for. Different is what other platforms are looking for. Oh, no. I stand corrected. TikTok and Facebook want the same. YouTube is a little bit different. It works where you want to, I know that they want the same, but they also want different. Different holds a different level, if you know what I mean. Okay, folks. I'm gonna love you and leave you. I have to get to my Poshmark because that is my work. But I will be back definitely next Tuesday because it's been a complete rocky roads. Student was gone, he's back now. Sundays are out, so the Tuesdays are back in. It's just been like a whole disaster. And I will speak to you guys soon. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate everybody that sat down and listened. But yeah, don't, I think the misunderstanding is people always want the virality. As I said, I've compared it. I made $300 selling a necklace on the same day I went viral on Flip, which wasn't YouTube. But my comparison, I was like, definitely YouTube, Poshmark made the money that day. I compared 300, I mean, How many views would you need to reach $300 in a couple of hours? That's a lot of views. You need to really push it, right? So that's just my opinion. I think we need to be more realistic. I think we're not realistic enough, right? That's the whole moral of the story here. Music, if you're wanting to learn the music, my channel, lots of things. Feel free to just browse the courses. They're free courses. More intense, detailed courses, I would obviously, like you need more help doing more things. That would be a little bit more complex because I would have to get involved in having a deeper conversation and more depth guidance. I can guide people. If you want me to take a look at the music that you're doing, feel free to reach out and I'll take a look at your pages, no problem. Or art, whatever. Clothing, let me know. I'm here. Okay, folks, have a great day. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody that popped through. Okay, good luck for this week. Enjoy the week.